Yeah, so in the last class we discussed the functions of judiciary. Do you remember what the protection of rights function was?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, please tell
According
me.
to Article 32,
Yeah,
no, 32, that
yes.
if any fundamental right was taken away, the person, the citizen, or even a person who is not a resident of India can go to the Supreme Court and can file a
And
case.
is there any option to go to the High Court directly?
High Court, no, ma'am. Ma'am, like ma'am, that I don't know, but
There is. There is. Under Article 226, you can directly go to the High Court.
High
The
Court.
fundamental rights are violated.
Ma'am, like, can't they just go directly to Supreme Court if they have that option?
Yeah, Supreme Court has the power, but High Court has it too.
Okay. So, like, both the options are open.
Both the options are available. In fact, Supreme Court option is available in the fundamental right chapter itself in the Constitution of India. Okay, 226 is out of the fundamental right chapter, but is within the Constitution. Okay, so today we have to start with to get enforced its decisions and judgments. See, judiciary has all the right to enforce its decision throughout the jurisdiction. For example, let's say Supreme Court in one case said that right to privacy is a fundamental right within Article 21, right to life. That means it has to be enforceable throughout the Indian jurisdiction. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Sorry. Okay, so special role of judiciary in federation. What is a federal structure? You have unitary political setups and then you have federal systems. What is the difference between unitary and federal?
Unitary is a single government? Like,
Yeah, government only at the central level. No provincial governments or no lower level government. That is the federal system. Okay, but what is a unitary setup? Okay, that is unitary setup. And what is a federation, a federal setup?
where there are like levels to a certain system.
Yes, federal system is a system where are multiple level of governments, multiple levels of government. For example, you have the central government, then you have the state governments. Okay, that you have multi tier. All right. Now, do you think the importance of judiciary is even more vital in case of a federation than in case of a unitary setup?
Yes, ma'am?
Do you think the requirement, the significance of judiciary is more vital in case of a federation than in the unitary setup?
Ma'am, what? I didn't get that in my head.
You have understood the federal political structure?
Federal political structure.
Where
Yeah.
there are multiple governments. You have the government at the top, then you have the government at the central level, maybe that is state level, then you may have lower level government. You have more than one government actually.
Some like
That is the
district, then
case.
state, then like the central.
Yes, and they have distributed the power amongst themselves. That is a federation, a federal system. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So like
My
a
question to
single
you is,
unitary government would be like not, it's not a government, but unitary meaning like, for example, if a dictatorship is there, so that would be
yeah, dictatorship, it can be there even in case of democracy, but that democracy would not be really democracy. It would be, democracy only on the paper. It may be a case, but I think it's very utopian to think that there is only central level government and people are able to, give representation to their ideas, their aims and objectives. It's very important, as Gandhiji said, it's very important. If you really want to practice democracy, it's very important that you have grassroots level democracy too, where you can very easily locally get in contact with your leaders, okay, convey your problems to them and make them your representatives so that they can pass on your problems at the higher levels and can solve their problems if it is within their control. Okay, so democracy means there should be federation, but democracy can be there even when there is no federal system. Okay, now ours is a federal system. Okay, we have government at the top, we have government at the provinces, and then we have the government at the local level, the village level or municipality in the urban areas. So do you think the judiciary's role is even more vital in this federal structure than it is in the unitary setup when there is only one government?
Judiciary is vital when it's in a federal structure.
Why?
Because if it was a unitary government, then only one federal, only one judiciary will be there, which is the Supreme Court. And India being a very vast country, you can't just put all the cases in one Supreme Court.
No, 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 no. See. I think you are getting in a wrong direction. Understand my question carefully.
Yes, ma'am.
One situation is when there is a federal system, multi-level government. One system is when there is only top-level government, only the central level government. Population would be huge in both the cases. Federalism doesn't mean your population has increased, or unitary system doesn't mean your population has now shrunken. No, population is same. But in federal polity, the role of judiciary is even more vital. So definitely this role of judiciary is not with respect to the people, but with respect to the government bodies, the government organs at different levels. Now tell me, how is judiciary playing even more important role when it comes to the federal level polity?
It makes it easier to find out which cases have to go where. Like for example, like if a person like the in the village level, people say that one guy has stolen this from me, and how to sort that out. We can't take that case to Supreme Court. So like everything is sorted out in a federal state, while unitary has only one court.
See. Unitary has only one level government. Federal have multiple level government. This is the federal structure.
Okay.
My question is, the role of judiciary is even more important when we have this kind of system. Why this system makes it so important to have judiciary? That too independent judiciary. Because in case of federal structure, there can be disputes with respect to distribution of powers between these two government themselves. Look at India, for example. There are so many skirmishes between the state governments and the central government. Look at the farmers bill. Okay, the farmers, why are the states protesting against the farmers bill? Some of the states protesting against the farmers bill because they say that agriculture is a state subject. The state should have made a law with respect to farms bill. How come the central government make law? On the other hand, central government says, okay, it has said, okay, agriculture is your subject. You are making law on it. That's perfectly fine, but we can make law on trade and commerce, and we are not taking this bill from the point of view of the agricultural sector, but from the point of view of some good which is being traded and being commerce. Okay, so we have made a law from the trade and commerce front, not agriculture per se. Agriculture is your subject, but trade and commerce is mine. Now both are right in their own aspects. Now who will decide who is right and who
But
is
what are
wrong?
they doing? Like if there's like what bill was passed?
What bill was passed? Okay,
Like the
see, you know how agricultural produce is sold in the market?
Yes, ma'am.
How is it sold?
They come from the farmers and it's
Mhm.
transported to the
Mhm.
sellers
To
who
the
sell. They are transported to the sellers who then
sellers. Okay, they're
who
actually they're sold in the mandis,
monies.
agricultural markets, APMCs, agricultural produce marketing. I don't know, it was corporations, something of this sort. I don't remember the exact full form, but APMCs, or the agricultural marketplaces, or the mandis. Farmer would sell these farm produce in the mandis, okay, and they will not be selling it below the MSP. Government fixes a minimum price, minimum support price, below which you won't be selling your produce. But now farmers are suspicious that government may take away this concept of MSP, and if government would do that, then we won't be able to sell our produce at a minimum price. Our minimum price may fall. Now the minimum price is maintained above your cost. Now the minimum price may go down because the government would take away its support.
So like,
That is number
is
one.
it in like, is this active or it's not yet active, this bill?
The farm bills, no, there's a stay. The Supreme Court has had put a stay on these laws, so they have still not been enacted. But first of all, the government says we are not going to take away MSP, but the farmers are suspicious. Number two is, now the farmers are suspicious that the government is trying to corporatize agriculture. That means big companies would purchase these vegetables and other farm produce at very cheaper rate from the farmers, and they would have lesser negotiating power. Okay, so they are scared of corporatizing of agricultural produce. That is the concern. So they have been protesting for almost more than a year now, and since the states and central government are at loggerheads, the matter again is pending in the Supreme Court. Am I clearly audible, Lobsang?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know why the network is lost. Just a second. I don't know why have I stopped sharing and I'm unable to share the screen now. Just a second. Okay. Is this clear now?
Yeah.
So role of judiciary is even more important in case of federation. Next is running of judicial administration of the state.
Ma'am, the screen is showing black. I don't know why.
It's completely black. Yeah, it's black at my side too, but I've shared. Yeah,
Yes,
I
ma'am,
think
that's
it's okay. Uh, Running of the judicial administration of the state. What is judicial administration of the state? See, judiciary is not a department of the government. Is judiciary is judiciary a government agency, or is it an autonomous institute completely?
autonomous meaning, ma'am?
It is autonomous. Yeah, it is completely autonomous. There is no political role in the judiciary. At least there should not be any political influence in the judiciary. Now, there are some, problems here and there. There have been seen some political influence here and there in past few years, but it is not supposed to have any political influence. Okay, that is one. Okay, running of the judicial administration. Now, it is independent of both the legislature and the executive. Underline this line, please. Second line, it is
This one, ma'am.
independent of both the legislature and the executive.
Ma'am, wait.
Underline this line. It is independent of both. The line that I've underlined, and underline one more line. It frames rules for the day-to-day administration in the courts at the lower levels. Done?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then advisory function. So judiciary basically administers the court activities, administrative activities at the lower levels. For example, High Court will administer the administrative activities in the courts in the lower judiciary. Supreme Court will look into the administrative work of the high courts and lower judiciaries, right? So a higher court would have the authority to look into the administration of the or to frame rules for the day-to-day working of the lower courts within their jurisdiction. Clear? Yeah. Next is advisory function. Now, what is the advisory function? See, Supreme Court gives advices to, but to whom? Very often the courts are given the responsibility to give advisory opinions to the executive or to the legislature or any legal matter. For example, President has the power under Article 143. The president has the power to consult the Supreme Court to take his advice on any matter. Okay, so if the prime write down a question. Does the president does the pre- does the president
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, wait, I'll do it.
yeah,
Does the president
have an option to seek the opinion of the Supreme Court seek the opinion of the Supreme Court? Question mark. If yes, then on what matters can the president do so? Then on what matters can the president do so? What matter can the president do so? Okay, write down. The president can seek seek hmm, seek the opinion of the Supreme Court. I think there is some network glitch. Just a second. Yeah, right. Yes, the president can seek the advice of the Supreme Court under Article 143. Under Article 143, full stop. It can seek advice. It can seek advice in two categories of matter. In two categories of matters. Number one, questions related to law. Questions related to law of public importance. These questions which are of public importance and are, related to law, which may have arisen or is likely to arise. Done?
Yes, ma'am.
Second is on matters oblique disputes arising out of any pre-constitution treaty.
On matters?
On matters oblique disputes arising out of pre-constitution treaties. Pre-constitution treaties, comma, agreement, comma, convenant, etc. etc. Just a second, Lobsam. So, second matter, okay, if there is a dispute which is arising from a pre-constitution, see, constitution was enacted in 1950, right? Before the enactment of the constitution, if there was a treaty, which is in a dispute now, okay, which is a matter of dispute now, then the president can refer this matter to the Supreme Court and take the advice of the Supreme Court that, please, dear Supreme Court, tell us what can we do with respect to this. Clear? So under 143, okay, now write down one more question. Is it binding for the Supreme Court to give its advice to the president? Write down the question. Are you writing?
Yes, ma'am. Question 8, ma'am. Ma'am, question 8.
Yeah, okay. Is it binding on the Supreme Court?
Ma'am, what is?
Is it binding on the Supreme Court to give advice, to the president, sorry, advice to the president under Article 143. Under Article 143, write down the answer. No, it's not legally binding on the president. It's not legally binding on the judiciary, Supreme Court. It may deny, or it may not give any advice. It's not binding. To conduct judicial probes. To conduct judicial probes, judges are very often called upon to head inquiry commissions. For example, let's say there is some, let's say, law which is being protested again. Let's take the example of Farmers Bill, or let's take the example of Citizenship Amendment Bill. Okay, take up any bill. Let's say if a particular bill is being protested against, then the judges may be appointed as the heads of investigation teams. Okay, the government or any independent organization may appoint an investigating commission. Okay, and these judges may be made the head of these investigating commissions to investigate on some matters. Clear? Yeah. Then miscellaneous functions. Then there are so many other functions. What are other functions? Please underline in this. Keep on underlining the parts that I'll make you underline. Several other functions, for example, appointment of certain local officials of the court. See, all the staff within the judiciary is not appointed by the government. Okay, much of it is appointed by the judiciary itself. Okay, for example, clerical functionaries, other functionaries. Then it grants licenses, it grants patents, it issues the copyrights, it appoints guardians and trustees, the admission of will to probate. There are multiple functions. You can underline just three, four. That would be more than enough. When is your exam, Lobsang?
Ma'am, it's not yet. The dates are
But
not yet
still,
out.
you must be having some idea.
Ma'am, I think it's March end, if I'm not wrong.
Okay.
No, March. Ma'am, but by now they should have released the dates, if I'm not wrong.
Just check it, okay, and just let me know as soon as you get to know. Just let me know.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, if there is no judiciary, if there is no judiciary in the state, that means the government is performing the judicial functions as well and other functions as well. What do you call this state to be? What would it be if there is no judiciary?
I mean, if there's no judiciary, what will the state be called?
Mm-hmm.
There's no judiciary. I don't know.
It will be an authoritarian state. If the state is giving judgments,
Oh, authority. Oh, yes, yes, yes.
authoritarian
Yes.
or
Authoritarian.
totalitarian. Is there any difference between authoritarian and totalitarian?
Ma'am, totalitarian is. Ma'am, like, if you're talking about in a judiciary form of way, then
No, no,
both
no,
are
no,
the same.
no, 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 no. I'm
Acha,
talking
acha.
from the
Yes, ma'am.
political system point of
Ma'am, authoritarian state is a state. Ma'am, both are very similar. Both are like there is a little bit of dictatorship, but authoritarian state it's usually a group of people, while totalitarian state is
view. No,
like one
that's
leader.
autocracy. Authoritarianism means being authoritative, being controlling. Authoritarianism, when there is only, maybe some, see, both are, if it is oligarchy, it is also going to be authoritarian. If it's monarchy, it is also, monarchy is where there is one ruler, oligarchy is where there are few rulers, like you have in the UAE, United Arab Emirates. Okay, there are some amirs, but and ruling together, no matter whether it is a monarchy or oligarchy, it is going to be controlling,
Also, like
going to be.
totalitarian is.
Totalitarianism is when everything is in your control, when everything is in the control of the government, judiciary, executive, everything is the government itself.
I'm like, so China is an authoritarian state.
Yeah, China is an authoritarian state, but China, to a very large extent, we can't say completely totalitarian, because so many functions have now been delegated to other agencies also. For example, let's say army. Army is, yes, in control of China, but army is working separately. Civil government is working separately. Are you getting my point?
Yes, ma'am.
Totalitarian state is when everything is under the control of the head of the government or head of the state. When everything is being managed by by the, I won't call them the government. When everything is managed by the state, everything is under the control of the state completely,
Also,
totally.
like they are authoritarian.
They'll be authoritarian by nature itself. So see, both are synonymous, but not same, exactly same. Are you getting my point? Those who are totalitarian, have a tendency of becoming authoritarian, but
Also,
not.
like in China, you can go out of this country and come back, but in North Korea, you can't do that.
Yeah, if you're gone, you're gone, and if you'll come, they'll make you gone. So you don't have any option. Yeah. So I'll give you an example here to make this better clear. There's a political thinker. Actually, we call him as the father of the political philosophy, and his name is Plato. Have you heard about this Greek thinker, Plato?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Plato, you know what his theory is? His theory of communism is, he said everything should be controlled by the state. One should not have a private family. because if one would have a family, then one would go corrupt. Okay, family should be under the control of the government. Entire country should be your family. Only then will you be completely honest. Okay, he said nobody should have the right to marry a person of their choice. The state should select
Okay.
a
That's it.
spouse for you. Why? Because they better know better genes. So those who are intellectual have got better genes, and only they'll be allowed to marry, so that they can then give genius offsprings, which would work for the state, which would benefit the state in future. And those who are fools, they should not be allowed to marry, because they'll produce similar kind of fools. That would be fatal for the political setup. This is what, this is what he said. So he's a totalitarian. Everything should be under the. He's saying children should not be raised by the parents. Children should not be raised by the parents. Children should be raised by the state, and nobody should know who have they given birth to. Because if you would know that you have given birth to this individual, then you'll be biased towards that individual, and that's where corruption will take place. So he said if you have to be completely honest, then you should behave with all children like they are your own children, and for that you should not be told who is actually your children biologically.
But his concept is like for robots.
I don't know whether robot or not, but definitely a totalitarian.
Yes, but his concept is a little like there are okay, fine. It might be we don't we can't live in a perfect world. It's not possible.
His was the perfect world, utopian world.
I'm not possible, and
But
government will all. Ma'am, then but being if you don't want the biased thing in the country, then obviously the states will. The head of the state, if they have a child, they'll be biased towards their child. Obviously, they will know okay, if they
see,
had a child or not.
political setups, Lobsang, can never be perfect. It is just that how much are you inclined towards perfection? You continuously have to progress. It's a process. Are you getting my point? It's never a destination that okay, now things are perfect and you're fine. No, it's always a progress. You're always approaching towards perfection. We should preach perfect political setups, without corruption. We should preach that, and we should, constantly progress towards that. But if there are some elements here and there, if there are some let's say in India, let's take the example of India, there are some communal elements here and there, those who are not secular, but that doesn't make India a communal country. Okay, because India is much greater than these few elements. Yes, we should work to remove these things, we should work to correct these things, but that doesn't mean that we become hopeless and we say we are not perfect, we are not doing anything. Okay,
Yes.
that's not it. India is much more wider than this, and we constantly have to improve on things. This is how the political setups are. You know what he said, I'll tell you his education theory. He said you should be first of all, people are born with three different races. Three different elements. One are people of gold, the other are people of silver, and the third are people of copper. Copper, I think he said. I don't remember the exact. I think
Bronze.
bronze. Yeah. Third category is that of the bronze metal, and those who are born of gold will be the kings, actually will be suitable to become kings. And those who are built those who have the silver element more in them, they are born to be the soldier class, the fighting class. And those who are born as man of copper or bronze, jo bhi hai, he said they are supposed to be, they are destined to be, and they are meant to be the producer class, the business class, because they have more appetite in them. And okay, soldier class has got, there are three elements actually: appetite, courage, and wisdom. And he said kings have more wisdom, they're wise, okay, spiritually wise, honest. Soldier class has less of appetite and that wisdom, but are more courageous. And the business class doesn't have the wisdom, don't have the courage, but have the appetite. They are greedy. They should be the producer class. Okay, this is what he said. And he said, first of all, give everybody a basic education and take the examination for the first time when the children's become 19 years old. Take the first exam of their life at 19 years of age, and those who would pass it should be allowed to study further. Those who would fail would be thrown in the production segment. Produce, go and produce. You are the men of copper or bronze. You are meant to produce. You have more of appetite. Go and produce. And those who pass this exam should be allowed to study, and second exam should take place at 35 years of age. Now, now those who would pass would be allowed to study further, and those who would fail would be thrown in the military segment. You are courageous but not that wise.
I
And
mean,
then third exam should be at 50 years of age, and he said those who would crack that exam will be wisdom and would be worthy of making kings. And then some people asked him, if all of them who are getting certificates are worthy of becoming the king, then who will become the king? Matlab, they have given their 50 years of life in proving that they are wise, and now again you'll be selecting out of them, and you'll be rejecting some people that you can't be king. Okay, he said when you are 50, when you have achieved, when you have got that 50 years of wisdom, and when you have studied almost 45 years of your age, you will not be greedy about the throne. In fact, you would be reluctant to be in power. He said that's why they are the men of gold. They never compete for greed. They never compete to be the kings. They do big sacrifices. They're wise people. They're not enslaved by anything else but their knowledge. Okay.
ma'am, this is ma'am, who said this?
This great gentleman. Like,
Plato.
yeah,
Ma'am,
yeah.
but nowadays there are no kings and queens. They are just normal people doing their job.
Have kings and queens. Look
Ma'am,
at
ma'am, but if I'll tell you the truth, ma'am, businessmen are ruling the world more than the
yeah, it's
government
yes,
themselves.
yes, yes. So bring back Plato and tell him what is happening today.
Yes, ma'am. Copper class is ruling the gold class.
Hmm. Not the entire and I'll tell you why is it ruling, and especially in democracies, not other countries, and I'll tell you why. Because the political parties get funding from the corporates.
Yes, ma'am. That's
Okay, that's why the corporates actually make them dance. The governments have become mere puppets in the hands of the corporates.
yes, ma'am. Like if
No
you
matter
have
what ideology they belong to, everybody is in connection with some corporates. Yes.
yes, ma'am. Like the billionaires, they have so much money. They first of all, they don't know where to spend them. So to get support, obviously they'll spend it on the government.
No, actually, when you have so much of money, you don't think about how to spend that money. You think how to invest that money.
Yes, ma'am.
Because, I'll tell you one thing.
I'm spending in government is one kind of an investment only. Like it's not a right type of
Yeah, it
investment, but
is. Yes, 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 yes. But there's a difference. And I'll tell you, I'll tell you one more thing. If let's say you are, when you are owning such big companies, when you have that enough, what my point, my perspective is, I think money doesn't matter. What matters is to see what your limits are. Actually, to check yourself. What limits can you go to? I think that becomes the idea, because beyond a limit, I think money is not required. Money becomes meaningless beyond a limit. Yeah.
yes, ma'am.
Because let's say if you can afford 1,000 chapatis, that doesn't mean you're going to eat 1,000 chapatis.
Yes.
Or if you can afford 1,000 apparels a month, that doesn't mean you're going to keep on you're going to keep on changing it and
Yes, ma'am.
getting it. So money after a limit is useless. But I think people who work, ruthlessly even after that are not actually running after money, but actually are running after themselves to see what their limits are. Their reasons are different. Is this clear or not? Maybe their investments are. Okay, maybe they want to take their corpus to extremely extraordinary limits. Can be anything, but not spending definitely, because you can't spend beyond a limit.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, judicial review. Next point is very, very important. What is judicial review? Have you ever heard about this term?
Yes, ma'am.
What is it?
Wait. Ma'am, I don't know. Like, I don't remember. But I've heard
Mhm.
it. Ma'am, I'll read it out.
Okay. See, what I did with one of my student last day was, uh, see, she would say, "I don't know," even when she would know an answer. At least she could try. Okay. Or I don't know. Or she may give a wrong answer, or she may give a correct answer. If she would give a correct answer, there won't be any punishment for her. Okay, so she's saved. If she's giving a wrong answer, the punishment is she'll have to write one answer in the homework. Practice one answer writing in homework. And if she's saying, I don't know, then she'll have to uh, do two answers. So this is the worst place you can be at. At
Um,
maths, I
um,
think you should go for this.
Ma'am, I had an economics teacher. He's still there, I think. I
Uh-huh.
think he's still teaching.
Uh-huh.
So, like, he used to tell us to, like, obviously, economics, like, sir told us that it's okay. I'm fine with you guys not doing it word to word, but he always used to tell us to do it word to word. Like, he used to make us write and stuff. And then he always used to say that you have to learn this definition and speak it out in class tomorrow to the whole class. So, like, once the first day, it was my first day, like, being taught by him. So I forgot the answer. I didn't learn. So then he punished me. He told me to write it 10 times, the definition, on the first day. I was like, okay, I didn't write the first day, and then next day is like gave me then 20 times. Then it kept on increasing, and then finally I did it, and I saw that I had written it 80 times. And then, like, I was able to, like,
Huh.
do
So
my
now this would apply to you as well. Now,
no.
if no, this would apply, and I'll tell you, her IDKs have now gone down. She very rarely says, I don't know. Okay, so most of the time she would go for this, and for some questions she would go for this. But that's okay. I think at least the very minor but significant achievement is uh, shifting from IDK to wrong. Okay, so tell me, what is judicial review? Whether it's a two or one, it depends on you.
Ma'am, it's it's a power which the judiciary has, and if
Try.
ma'am, if a law is made, it has the direct power to either deny it or approve it, if that law will come in power or not.
Okay, okay.
It
So
was wrong.
basically, uh, judicial review is okay. One question is to be done, and I'll give you the question towards the end of the class because it was wrong, but you tried. See, I'll tell you what judicial review is. See, if
Wait, wait, I'll
judiciary has
first write
given
is
some judgment, if judiciary has given some judgment, and if you want the judiciary to review its decision, or if the judiciary, on its own suo moto feels that it should review some judgment, okay, and if it comes with a new judgment, a refreshed judgment, it may be same as it was earlier,
yes.
okay, but at least they have reviewed it. We call this power of the judiciary as judicial review.
I'm
Plus,
like,
this
if
is one. Second is, if the let's say parliament is coming up with a law, okay, judiciary has all the rights to check this law whether it is in alignment with the constitution or not. That is also known as judicial review.
okay,
Okay, so here it is mainly talking about the judicial review power of the of the judiciary, wherein the judiciary can take up the law and can review it, and if it is not in alignment with the constitution, then what will the judiciary
they can
do?
deny. They can
it,
deny
it
it.
may it may struck that law down, or it may ask the parliament to make certain changes or to delete some. And if the judiciary is saying that these sections of the, see, it may not completely struck that law down completely, it may just delete some provisions of the law which are not in alignment with the constitution. Rest of the law will be applicable, but those specific provisions will be deleted. Clear? Okay. Now, judicial review. Okay, mark the judicial review definition. Judicial review is the authority of the courts to examine the act of legislature and the executive with a view to determine their constitutional validity. Underline till here. And please read once, and if you have any doubt, please ask. Or you can write any of these definitions. Whenever there's a question on judicial review, just write in the introduction the definition of judicial review. Okay, you have had three classes in the last week. Okay, but I have to take 4. So this week I'll be taking 5 to compensate last week's class that
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we didn't have.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, do you think giving extra money so that you could benefit from it, like for example, there are few like, do you think giving extra money and then benefiting from it, like, you know what I'm trying to say, right? Like for example, if for business they have to pay the government some amount to have advantage, like if they are doing a business and they need, like, ma'am, do you think it's valid in this point of time, or it's invalid? Like,
It's absolutely correct. It's absolutely incorrect.
incorrect.
Absolutely.
Ma'am, but
Because what you're trying to do is, see, what you're trying to do is, because something is not valid legally,
yes, ma'am.
but you're getting it done, okay, by using your money, by using the power of your money. What are you trying to do? You're trying to influence law with money. What is money? Just a medium of exchange. What is law? Something that is governing our lives. Tell me, is this correct?
No, ma'am.
That's how it is.
Ma'am, and like one more thing, ma'am. So like there is like, ma'am, I do business. I have a small business which I do. So like I resell shoes.
Okay, okay.
So like so the shoes which I resell, they like.
Okay, just a second, Lobsan. So that is the judicial review. Now, nature of judicial review. What are the features of judicial review? See, very important question. Write down a question. This can be a 6-marker question. What are the features of judicial review? And you'll have to write in pointers. If the question is in 6 marks, you'll have to write 6 pointers.
What are
The
the
question is in 6 marks, you'll have to write 6 points. If you're selling something, let's say if something is rated at something's MRP is, let's say, 200 rupees, and you're selling that product for 201 rupees, even then you can be sued legally. A case can be filed against you. Okay, but if the seller is aware that since the demand is more, that's why the prices are more, and if still that individual is willing to buy it, then it's okay to sell it. So, nature of judicial review. The first feature is judicial review is not automatic power of the judiciary. It is the power of the judiciary which is exercised only during the course of a trial. It is not automatic in the sense that all statute means law. or acts of the executive or legislature do not automatically come before the judiciary for judicial review. They become operative the moment these are implemented. However, subsequently, if any dispute arises involving any law and it is challenged, then the judiciary conducts judicial review. The same can happen when any person or institution or association specifically challenges any law before the judiciary. Let me give you an example. Let's say Parliament has enacted some law, it has now implemented, or let's say even not implemented, but people are protesting against it. Or let's say it is implemented, but then there are disputes due to this act. Okay. In this case, the judiciary can take that issue up and can make a judicial review of the act. And if there are some provisions or the entire constitution, if it is not in alignment with the constitution, then the judiciary can, if the provisions are not in alignment, can cut off those particular provisions. And if the law in itself is non-constitutional, then can struck down the constitution completely. Clear? Yeah. Second is, while conducting judicial review, the judiciary has to establish and give grounds for rejecting any law as unconstitutional. When the judiciary is conducting a judicial review, and if it's saying that this particular act is unconstitutional, it has to give reasons. Why is it unconstitutional? Why are you saying it is unconstitutional? You cannot simply say it is unconstitutional. You have to specify. Okay, these are the two features that you'll have to learn in the homework. And the question write down for today would be, write down a question: what are the functions of judiciary? Write down in a 6 marker. What are the functions of judiciary? You'll have to write this answer in 6 marker. Then we'll see how you present.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's all, Lobsang. Now we'll meet in the next class.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay, bache. God bless you.
Thank you, ma'am.